Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
With Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to... Has anyone seen the bride and groom?
Sorry, we're here. We were getting lucky in the limo and we lost track of time.
No, Lucky Land Casino. With cash prizes that add up quicker than a guest registry.
In that case, I pronounce you lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Daily bonuses are waiting. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
When we got into this thing with the best intentions, really. I never...
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are the entertainment for this afternoon. Now on shotgun, we got my man, Leroy. All right. And on the cash register, we got that magic fingers, Rico.
That's me!
And last but not least, yours truly, Frank. On the stick. Shut up! Now, if you all do just what we tell you, you just might get your asses home all intact.
Welcome to Back to the Frame Rate, part of the Western Media Podcast Network, a weekly podcast discussing movie news, reviews, and recommendations. We just heard a clip from 1984's Toxic Avenger, a tie-in to this week's theme, where we'll be having a discussion about the latest Marvel film, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and also offering up some recommendations for some superhero films not associated with the MCU or DCU, or is it DCEU? I'm not really sure. I am Nathan Schur, and with me always are Sam Cole and Ellie Escobar.
How you doing?
Hello, welcome back for episode 4 of Back to the Frame Rate. We made it to 4 episodes. That's quite an accomplishment.
If we were Star Trek, the original motion picture series, we'd be at the one with the whales by now. That's impressive.
That is impressive. The funny one.
Exactly, the funny one.
So I think we're going to have a fun show today. And apologies to everybody who we told to go out and watch the Amazon Prime movie, Someone I Used to Know, because that's what we said we were going to watch last week. But we called an audible at the last minute when we realized we were all going to have a chance to watch Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania this week. We didn't think we were all going to have a chance to go to the theater, but we did. So here we are going to discuss that movie in a little bit. But before we do, let's catch up with everyone and see what we've been up to this week. And we're going to do our little weekly water cooler and see what we've been doing, what we've been watching. I don't know who we did last week first, but Ellie, let's start with you. Tell me a little bit about what you've been up to the last week and what you've been watching.
Oh, well, let me tell you. I have been watching, I actually watched this new series on Netflix. I really loved it. I'm a big series person. I love films, but I love series as well. And I watched the series by the name of Lydia. Oh, I had it. Wait a second. I'm so horrible at this. So sorry, guys.
It's all good.
Okay. Lydia Poet. And
cool.
The language, watch a film in the targeted language and you will learn so much. So it's done in Italian and there's subtitles in English, but I love the series because it's short. I just binge watch the whole season 1. And it's about this young woman who's become a lawyer. But back in that era, the man rules that industry. So she's trying to break through and practice law. And in Italy, it won't happen for her.
Oh,
And
wow.
so she works. Her older brother is a lawyer, so she basically solves all these cases and makes everyone that gets charged with murder or whatever, she frees them because she's sort of like a lawyer, but it's also like a detective. It's really cool. And she's just so beautiful. And I just love that. The series is just, if you love anything regarding, it's more like a detective work than her being a lawyer. But I think it's empowering for women to see this series because how we have changed through the years. You know, the fact that you couldn't practice law if you were a woman, and this man really tell her like, why don't you don't practice law, go you're supposed to be, which is go get married and have kids and take care of the house. That mentality.
Right. Yeah.
So
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah. Then I got to see Two Guns. That's a film on Netflix.
I saw you had posted about that. I've seen Two Guns. Yeah.
Oh my God, surprise! I was,
I don't remember like any of the plot, just the two, like Mark Wahlberg and Denzel Washington, like making cracks and shooting at stuff and like money flying around all over the place. And that's it.
Let me tell you, I came across this film by, like when you grab a piece of chocolate and it's like so delicious. That's how I feel about this film. Very delicious. It's a delicious film to watch. Especially, one of my favorites, Denzel Washington. It took me by I had no idea who the main characters in the film was until I started watching. And I'm like, wait, this is Denzel. Oh, wait, that's Mark. And I think, in my opinion, Mark stole the show. He was, he was just funny. He was just funny. And Edward James Olmos is in that film. And he's like the cartel guy. And oh my goodness, I will recommend it. Anyone, it's a feel-good movie. There's a lot of connotations. Like, for example, can I say it? Can I say that line?
I don't know where you're going with this, Ellie. So.
Well, I just want to say there's a line with Mark Wahlberg says to James Edwards Olmos that you remind me of a Mexican Albert Einstein because of the way his hair. Started looking at James Edwards like, oh my God, he does look like a Mexican Albert Einstein. And the whole film is just so delicious to watch. And it's, you'll laugh throughout it, the whole film. And
do you remember a large like shootout at like a barn or like something at like a horse ranch at the end? And like a car coming out of them, like busting out through a door, and like them back to back shooting around in a circle. Like that. I do.
Well, so just so you know, that the whole thing is that they're not even working together. They start like kind of friends working together, but then they realize that one is working for the army and the other one's working for like the DEA. And eventually the big bad guy is the CIA.
Oh, right.
so yeah, but there's a lot of shootout, a lot of guns, and I loved it.
They have to come together in spite their differences, because Mark Wahlberg has a gun and Denzel Washington has a gun, and so there's two guns.
Well, Mark can stop shooting.
I hope it stops right there. No one else has a gun, right?
Right. No, they just see everyone else says, we got guns, get out of here. Yeah.
That guy has a knife. Everyone.
Right.
Okay.
I'm not usually Mark is just, he's just funny. And he has that sort of voice that still's like a teenager voice. I think he has that teenage voice still, never changed. So definitely delicious film. The guys are awesome. Denzel, they both are great. And then I watched The Stranger. I believe that's an Australian film. Have you guys watched that?
No, I don't think so.
It's on Netflix too. So it's a little bit of a twist film, and
I've seen the poster for this.
Have you? Yeah,
I haven't watched it yet.
It's this guy that he's picked up by some the twist is ridiculous. It threw me for a loop. Basically, it starts with him in a sort of a bus, and there's all these guys that are sitting there, and so basically the film is about the police is trying to catch the men that killed a young boy and abused them.
Oh wow, okay.
But how they go about it, it's like I'm thinking that everybody else is doing a drug deal thing, like the cartel, and they bring him in. They bring in the serial killer, the guy, and because he's been escaping them. So in order to catch him, they create this whole illusion that all of the guys that he's dealing with are drug dealers, and they're bringing him in to work with them. And at the end of the movie, eventually they reveal, none of them are criminals, they're all cops.
Oh wow, cool. So it's like a clever plot. Yeah.
Such a clever plot. And I was just like, what? Because I was just like, oh my God, they had me going. I thought they were all criminals and working together, and till I found out that they're actually all policemen making themselves believe they're all drug dealers. So and they
keep undercover.
Yeah, so I don't want to go too much into it because I don't want to ruin it. But then I watched The Fall. And
Fall, the movie that I mentioned
Fall,
last week.
yeah, it's not The Fall. It's just
God,
Fall.
I watched that as well. I was gonna say yes. Oh my God, yeah.
I liked it. I wasn't too much into it. I'm sorry, guys. I know you guys really liked it.
I loved it, and I was like viscerally terrified by it, and I was impressed at how uncomfortable it made me. And you would think that would make me not like it, but I loved it because of the terror and the execution and the elemental feeling of like I felt like I was gonna fall off into space, like to my own death. That whole movie, I just felt like I was like at an uncomfortable height. I loved every single minute, found it terrifying. And there was a little twist ending, which I won't reveal, but that was just, I don't know. For me, it was just like, I'm almost like envious of it because that's the type of like script that I wish that I had come up with. I personally loved it. So
I did love the twist.
Two Sam Cole thumbs up.
Yeah. Well, I did love the twist. That I was not expecting that as well. They did that very cleverly.
But it makes sense when you look back at it. Like, of course, it's kind of like obvious. I felt like it makes sense. Anyways, I won't say anything more about it. But I'm so impressed that I recommend a movie and both of you go out and see it within a week. That was the power of my
winning.
Yeah.
I saw it immediately, and I don't know, my one criticism, and I put the word criticism in quotations because it's like not even really, I don't know if it was my TV. There was one, and I wish I could remember it more clearly, but I can't. There was one VFX shot, just one, that I thought looked glaringly terrible, but I realized that they needed it as a connective tissue shot to cut two other shots together. And I wish I could remember where it was, but it was something like in the middle of a fall or over the ladder. But every single shot was so convincing. Just this one that I saw I watched it and went, ooh. I mean, it took me out of the movie for 3 seconds and then it stopped. And it just looked completely artificial. But other than that, I thought the movie was like brilliant.
I need to see again. I wonder if the experience watching it on a TV would affect my enjoyment. Apparently it didn't bother you at all, but I do want to watch it again and see if it has the same visceral experience.
Oh, it definitely worked. I mean, I only had like a 55-inch television, and the effect was just, I don't even know if I could handle that in the theater, to be honest.
It was. Yeah, I actually had real vertigo watching it in a theater.
The movie induced like
you guys are weak.
Yeah.
Weak. Okay. Yeah. No, come on. It didn't affect me. I don't know how it affected. It did not affect me that way at all.
Sam, you said something last week about like how it's not about the heights, it's the man-made structures of just like being on the edge of things like that, like buildings and towers and things like that. Is just being on the edge of those things is what gets to me too.
It's torturous, and especially the other character keeps pushing her and is like, no, we got to do it, we got to do it, and clearly she does not want to.
Yeah.
Makes her go all the way to the top, then past the top to the tippy top thing. And once they were up there, I'm like, I can't take this anymore. I love this, but I can't take it.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm glad both of you had a chance to watch it and enjoy it, at least to some level, both of you. So that's pretty cool.
I did. I didn't have the vertigo, but I did enjoy it.
Hey guys, it is Ryan. I'm not sure if you know this about me, but I'm a bit of a fun fanatic when I can. I like to work, but I like fun too. It's a thing. And now the truth is out there. I can tell you about my favorite place to have fun. Chumba Casino. They have hundreds of social casino style games to choose from with new games released each week. You can play for free anytime, anywhere. And each day brings a new chance to collect daily bonuses. So join me in the fun. Sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void were prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Coincidence? I think not. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere, even at 30,000 feet. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void were prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
So, all right. So I think those are the... Ellie, does that wrap up what you saw?
Yeah, and of course, the Last of Us.
The Last of Us, we're both watching. Sam, I don't think... Have you had a chance to start it yet?
No, I haven't. I haven't watched it, no.
All right. So, yeah. Ellie, anything? How about anything you've been doing in the last week? I think there's something that you wanted to mention that you.
For this past week I ended up auditioning for a commercial for CBS.
Oh.
That's not hard because I don't know what they're looking for, so my agent sends me the work and I just kind of audition and I forget about it. I never get stuck in like, oh my God, are they gonna like me? I think when I first started this industry, I was always like checking my iPhone, like, did I get an answer? And now it's like, oh well, I submitted. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But it's always fun to do auditions because it's a way to perform, and I love to be. Anytime I get a chance to bring a character or something to life, I love it. I'm enjoying it. And I also have an upcoming audition on the 27th. And if you see if it's on my board, and this is an audition that I'm getting ready to do for international casting director.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
There are no shortcuts.
Yeah, there are no shortcuts. And I was like, and so I am in the process of preparing for this upcoming audition. This is more for film and television, and for what do they call those episodic series and stuff like that. But it's also for Mexico and Latin America. So I'm really excited because I'm gonna get to do it in Spanish and bring characters to life in my own language. And then I am getting ready to perform for Larry Moss. And that's the one that's really getting me nervous. It's Larry Moss.
Right.
And I have about 2 books to read to prepare for this play that I'm going to do. I'm doing a Tennessee Williams play. Yeah. Orpheus Descending. That's the one I was assigned. And I'm looking forward to reading. And, Larry Moss is huge in script analysis, so I really had to spend some time working on that. So
that's great. Well, I obviously wish you luck on the CBS commercial and this upcoming project. So the entire world listening is rooting for you.
Yeah, thank you, and I'm rooting for Sam too.
Yeah. So Sam, let's move on to you. Tell us a little bit about what you've been watching and what you've been doing the last week.
This week I saw Fall I saw Beverly Hills Cop 2 on HBO.
Beverly Hills Cop 2.
always a pleasure. Yeah. Tony Scott's 1987 action-packed, not quite as good sequel, but fun to watch. I did a self-tape for a Netflix show that was fun. And honestly, that's about it. Not a very eventful week. Did some work, stuff happened. Saw the ocean. I enjoy New England and Sam Cole. That's it.
Sam Cole.
So we launched this podcast about 3 weeks ago. I don't know how long it's been now. So I'm also going to be launching another podcast soon, and I don't know if it might be premature to be talking about this because it's not out yet, but I'm very excited that we're going to be recording our first episode sometime in the next week. A friend of mine, Dan Martin, who is a Rhode Island actor and stand-up comic, and I are launching our Creative Dystopia, which is going to be a podcast about the creative process. And we're going to be interviewing musicians, writers, directors, filmmakers, actors. And it's something that I've been looking forward to doing for years and years. So I'm more on that to come. I don't have any place to send anyone to, any links or anything like that, but we are at the final stages of getting that thing finalized and ready to go. We're going to be recording really soon. And when that is up and running, I'll be able to kind of share more about where people can listen to that. And maybe there'll be some crossover.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Episode. That'd be really cool because Dan's a great guy. So I'm excited about that. So I'm going to be neck deep in the world of podcasting. How I'll juggle it all, who knows? But it's going to be a fun.
Well, you're the man, Nathan. You're the man.
Another thing, I kind of want to plug something that I'm really excited about. I work at the Weston Media Center, and my main gig really is to be the director of a cable station. One of the things that we do there is, obviously there's a public channel, government channel, and we produce a lot of content. A lot of people in the community create content that goes on our stations. I work closely with the town, and there's the public library there. There is a really cool show that I help produce called The Film Club. And what it is, there is one of the employees of the library, his name is Doc Crane. Every Thursday at 1:30 p.m., upstairs of our building, there is I work in the Art and Innovation Center. We have a space downstairs, but upstairs, the Weston people that are listening to this will know this very well because I think a lot of people in town listen to the show. Upstairs in the Art and Innovation Center, on Thursdays at 1:30, Doc Crane hosts the Film Club, and every single week they are showing a film with a live audience. And every single month I produce a show with him called The Film Club, where he is basically talking about the films that they're going to be showing. And we just finished recording an episode called Irish March, basically. And I just want to really plug the fact that he's doing live screenings every Thursday at 1:30 in the Art and Innovation Center reading room, which is at 356 Boston Post Road, Weston, Massachusetts. Again, this really pertains to the people that are in the area, but it's a great opportunity to watch a film for free at the Weston Art and Innovation Center, and there's a film discussion afterwards. And I help produce the shows that promote this event on our cable station and on our VOD page at westonmedia.org. So I just want to mention that, and I'll put a link to the show notes on that, but it's a really great opportunity to see some great films in there showing. They always have themes every single month, every single week. So yeah.
Cool.
Very cool.
Very cool. Huh.
All right. And a couple of things I've been watching. I've been watching way too much. So you're going to laugh at me. But a week and a half ago, I took my daughter because she is a big fan of Titanic. And we did see the 25th anniversary re-release of Titanic in IMAX 3D. So we did get to see that. And you know what? It's the first time I've seen Titanic in a theater since it was in the theaters back in 1990, the winter of 97, 98. And
Yep.
it was a pretty impressive thing seeing it in an IMAX screen in 3D, because I don't think I probably saw it on the most impressive format back then. It was fun. It was fun seeing it. I don't think I've seen it in a long, long time. I've only seen it probably on my TV, maybe once or twice since then. But I have to say, they did a fantastic job. I mean, James Cameron spared no expense at making this thing look amazing. The 3D conversion was fantastic. So I don't even know if it's still playing in, I don't think it's in the theater. I think it was maybe just 1 week or two. They took it out of most theaters, I think, after like 2 weeks or so. But it was nice to have that chance to see it on the big screen.
I'm a fan of Titanic. I actually thought about going to see it. I didn't make it this time, but I did see it in the 2012. That was like the 1912, 2012, so 100-year anniversary of the Titanic sinking came out then. But I know this version is 4K, remastered, stuff like that. But
it looked great. It sounded amazing. It was impressive. It was definitely impressive. So I just wanted to mention that it was a really good experience. What else? So in a couple weeks, Creed 3 is coming out. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to catch up on the Creed films. I saw Creed, 7 years ago, but I never watched Creed 2. So I watched Creed 2 finally. I have an interesting theory on this. I'm watching Creed 2. And for the first 5 minutes of this movie, have you seen Creed 2?
I have not, no.
Okay. So Ellie, you've seen these.
I've seen it a while back, but yeah.
Okay, so I liked the first one. I didn't like the second one as much, but my theory is, I don't think this could be a true theory, but Sylvester Stallone in Creed 2 has died, and he's a figment of Adonis's imagination, and he's trading him in his mind or something like that. That's what I wanted this to be. And I thought this was a real thing at first. This was like my theory for a little while. I didn't like this movie as much, and it kind of doesn't have me as much looking forward to Creed 3. Although I think Jonathan Majors gives it a little more cachet. So I don't know if I'm going to rush out to see Creed 3 in the theater, but I'm caught up on the Rocky Creed franchise, I just want to say. So.
There you go. That's important.
Yes. Two more things I want to say that I've been watching. I watched, there's hold on, let me see here. There's a Apple TV Plus movie that just got released called Sharper. This is a new A24 release from director Benjamin Caron, I think is how you say it. It's written by Brian Gatewood and Alessandro Tanaka. Here's the plot synopsis from IMDb, which is pretty brief. Motivations are suspect and expectations are turned upside down as con artists take on Manhattan billionaires. So this is kind of a clever, twisty story about grifting has more double crosses and triple crosses and quadruple crosses than you could possibly keep track of. It's almost to the film's detriment. It stars Julianne Moore, Sebastian Stan, Brianna Middleton, John Lithgow, and Justice Smith. I enjoyed this film probably more than I should have. It's told in this interesting fashion where we meet each of these characters in a certain order, but it's unfolded to us in this backwards manner, showing us how their lives are interconnected through these circumstances. And it has this cool peeling away the layers of how they all know each other, which I dug the way it's done this way. The problem is the core of the story isn't all that interesting or thrilling. In the technique of telling the story of...
Lucky Land Casino, asking people, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
Lucky? In line at the deli, I guess?
Aha, in my dentist's office. More than once, actually.
Do I have to say?
Yes, you do.
In the car before my kids' PTA meeting.
Really?
Yes.
Excuse me, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
I never win and tell.
Well, there you have it. You can get lucky anywhere, playing at LuckyLandSlots.com. Play for free right now. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Is the real hook, the way that it's peeling away the story. For the most part, I enjoyed it, but and I thought the performances were pretty good. And the unconventional presentation reminds me kind of like Memento, how you're always kind of like telling the story backwards. It's not telling the story backwards, but you're introduced to the characters in this backwards way. You've met these characters. Now we're going to show you how they know each other in this. The plot is moving backwards in a way. But I love movies about grifting. And so if you're into that kind of movie, you might like it. But it's, for the most part, I thought it was decent, nothing great, but it was okay. So that's streaming on Apple TV Plus. Something else I watched this week, which I love, not new to everybody, but new to me, was Kunk on Earth. This is, it's a 5-episode series streaming on Netflix. So Diane Morgan plays fictional host Philomena Kunk, and it's a spoof documentary series. Now, I've watched the first 3 episodes so far. So it's basically a mockumentary about the history of the world, and Philomena Kunk interviews these pillars of academia, historians, scientists, and great thinkers of our modern age. And she asks the most ridiculous questions. You know, for example, she's on the subject of industrialism or economics and is asking a mathematician from Cambridge University something like, so are numbers now worth the same amount now as they were in ancient times? And the mathematician's like dumbfounded by this, but has to keep a straight face. So these are like real professors, historians, mathematicians that they've brought in to answer these questions. But it's all, done earnestly. It's the funniest thing I have seen on TV in ages. So it's hysterical. So there are at least, I think, 2 other seasons of Philomena Kunk doing this spiel. I think there's Kunk on Britain, Kunk and Other Humans, Kunk on Shakespeare. There's another one. And I'm just glad that once I finish up this series that there's at least 3 other seasons of content that I can watch with this character. So the actress is Diane Morgan. Apparently this is a thing that she's been doing for 6 or 7 years, this character called Philomena Kunk. So I'm in love with this character, this show. It's hysterical. So it's this deadpan humor. It's wonderful. So that's streaming on Netflix.
I might have to check it out.
It is. It's just a beautiful thing. It really is. So that is what I have been watching, and of course I've been watching Last of Us as well, which I am loving. Have not caught up on Shrinking. Sorry, Ellie.
I actually watched a Shrinking episode yesterday. I'm behind too, but
I don't know if I'm going to continue. Maybe.
It's definitely not Lasso. It's definitely not Lasso.
No. But that comes back in March. Ted Lasso comes back in March. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Lasso comes back. So
yeah.
Let's move on to some of the stories going on, the trades of the past week. And there has been some news that I just wanted to discuss with each of you, because it's been kind of a little bit of a slow news week, but there's a couple things that came out that I think are worth mentioning that A little bit, kind of some sad news. Bruce Willis was in the news this week. They came out with the fact that he has an official dementia diagnosis. Now, I think it was a little under a year ago, he announced that he was retiring from acting. It might have been a little over a year ago, but I think it was around that time that he was retiring from acting. And I think at the time, I don't know if we really thought that that was really going to be a permanent thing or not, but this seems like it's now going to be a real thing, because battling dementia is a very serious thing. And I think, Ellie, we were talking off the air beforehand that this has both affected our lives, people that have diagnoses like this. My mom did not have an official dementia diagnosis, but she passed away before she got a diagnosis, but she was battling really bad memory issues before she passed away, and it affected her life. It impacted her life a lot, and in a lot of ways, in some ways, I look at it as being very lucky that she did not have to deal with what would have been a very, very difficult time of her life if she did have to deal with that. So it's a double-edged sword that she didn't have to, because it's a scary thing. And what are your thoughts on this, Ellie?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. His family, I feel for his family right now, because even though it's sad that he's going through this and eventually get to dementia. I don't know if he's there yet, but it's tough for the family, only because, I'll give you the example of my grandmother, for example. My grandmother developed Alzheimer's, and short after that, once she started developing loss of memory, and she ended up with dementia. At that point, they don't really know anything. They're in their own little world. But it's for the family. For us, it's the hardest part, because we had to deal with, the motor coordination. It's not there anymore. They go through all of that. You really have to take care of them. They don't have that coordination anymore to go to the bathroom, to eat. And eventually they just deteriorate. My grandma stopped eating. And so, from time to time, before she lost her mind completely, while she was still under Alzheimer's, before she went into dementia, I was sitting in front of her, and for a second, I swear, she looked at me like she recognized me. And I wrote a poem actually for her about, the world that she was in. And I actually have a book of poetry that I've never published, and I think I'm being selfish about it, but maybe one day I grow courage to publish. But it's hard. I think it's harder for the people who are taking care of that person to see them in that state, and it hurts that they don't know you. It hurts.
It takes a toll. It does. I mean, I've known people that have gone through taking care of a loved one, and it's sad. It's aggravating, because you have to have so much patience for that person, and it's really hard.
But this was created, from what I understand, this came about a head trauma, right?
Well, I wasn't aware of that. It is an official diagnosis, frontotemporal dementia. He was officially diagnosed with it. The family came out with, by the way.
Right.
So,
yeah.
But I'm not aware of that there was a head trauma that was involved in this.
I read somewhere that the dementia was caused because of a head trauma. He was originally diagnosed with a different illness earlier.
Yes.
I forget the name of that illness, but I feel like it's due to because my grandmother's apparently. I mean, I don't know if it was due to a trauma on her head, but I know that Alzheimer's can also be hereditary. So,
yeah,
tough time coming up for his family. So all the best wishes for them.
I likewise. I
Absolutely,
agree. So, yeah. So that's sad news with Bruce Willis and his family.
Difficult times.
Yeah. Other sad news. Not to dwell on sad things, but we lost icon Raquel Welch this past week. She passed away. I think it was on February 15th. She was 82.
She's 2 years older than my mom.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
She was she was quite the status symbol of the 60s and 70s. Now, I will admit, I do not know a lot about her as an actress. I will say I can't say that I have seen probably any of her films to completion. I know that she did the movie like 1 million years BC, and there's the iconic photograph of her in the deerskin poster. I mean, this was a little bit before my time. And, I think she gets compared to other actresses of that time, like Jane Fonda and
Marilyn Monroe.
Marilyn Monroe.
But she was gorgeous.
Sex icon. But she was. And so I'm bringing this up because this obviously is a sad loss.
For me, I'm not really familiar with her films as well. What I am familiar with, I did see 1 million years BC, but what I am familiar with is the fact that she paved the way for so many Latinas. Her is, she's very, very proud of her heritage, Latino, Spanish heritage, always was. And what I really admire about Raquel is that two things I admire about Raquel is one is that she stood her ground with the big studios in Hollywood when they wanted to change her name to Debbie. And she's like, no, my name is Raquel. And it's not Rachel, it's Raquel. And then they agreed to keep her name as Raquel. And also the other fact is that she decided that she was not going to do any nude scenes in any films. As gorgeous as she was, she refused to do nude scenes. And one of the things that I've always said is that I don't care how much money you pay me, I'm not doing a scene naked. In your film. And so I totally appreciate that, and I appreciate that she in the industry for Latinas is really hard to get in. She's one of the women who paved the way, and for that I'm very proud of her. And she's her dad is from Bolivia, born in Bolivia. She was born in Chicago, but her dad, and I believe she won a Golden Globe in 1975 for the Three Musketeers.
Yes, she did. Yep.
And I think she was named Playboy. It's a Playboy magazine that named her the third sexiest female in 1998, I think. Yeah. So she's a legend. She started she started at 19 in a television saying as a weather girl.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's how she started. And I don't know, she's done like 50, 70, 100 shows, TV shows. She was in Seinfeld at one point.
Yep. I remember her cameo, her guest appearance. That I spent today I was on YouTube actually today. I found a couple clips of her on the Johnny Carson show. She was so well-spoken and seemed intelligent and classy. I mean, I was really impressed because I don't think I really knew that much about her.
I think she owns a company. She owned a company. She started for wigs because she's notorious for wearing wigs.
Yeah.
She said, I think at one point she said that what's the problem with wearing wigs if you can change your look? with just wearing a wig. And so I kind of agree with her. I love wigs.
That's great. Well, thank you for kind of shedding some light on Raquel Welch, because I really did not know much about her, but I'm glad.
I grew up watching my mom, because of my mom. She was a fan of Raquel.
So anyways.
Oh my God, guys, before we go on.
Yeah.
I have to tell you, I forgot to tell you that I watched one more film. And you guys have to go see it. It's called The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
Oh, well, that was one of my favorite movies from all of last year.
It was. You seen it?
Yes.
Sam, have you?
With Nicolas Cage? No, I haven't seen it yet. I heard it was amazing. Yeah.
And Pedro Pascal. Yes. So, yeah.
It's worth it just for the drug trip scene. Yes. It's incredible.
It was delicious too, just like Two Guns. No? Yeah. Just saying. Go watch it.
All right. And the most exciting news of the week, of course, is that Avatar 2, The Way of Water, passes Titanic as the number 3 in the all-time box office.
What the heck?
And both of them have water in them.
Yeah, so much water. I like to think there's a shared universe, perhaps. If Titanic just floated by Pandora,
And they both have Kate with Kate Winslet too.
Yes, very true.
They do.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Fascinating. I said it before. I thought Avatar 2 was a significant improvement over Avatar 1, but yeah, continue. Sorry.
So James Cameron now has 3 of the top 4 all-time box office movies now, right?
Something he does. Yeah. Amazing.
That's insane.
That's just crazy. That's just loco.
Will he have 4 of the top 5 in 2 years from now? If Avatar 3 comes out, then who knows?
We'll see. No idea. Hopefully, I mean, 2 was so good. I assume they have the plan, but it's hard for me to imagine, to look ahead to see how they can keep topping. I don't quite.
I gotta think that Avatar 3. There's gotta be. We waited 13 years for Avatar 2. The wait for Avatar 3 is not going to be as long. Well, who knows? Who knows?
No, it is scheduled. It's December 2024.
Yeah, well, we'll see about that.
Wait, it's scheduled to start filming or to?
No,
it's already done filming. Yeah, they're editing it already. Yeah.
Yeah, all the video effects and all the post work is being done.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
And they already shot a part of 4 as well.
What?
Because it's a lot of it's the live capture when they're animating it later. It's a whole different style of production. That's fascinating to me. But yeah, so they're definitely they've got it mapped out.
They shot this stuff 5 years ago too.
It's good to map things out. I'm looking at you, Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker. You mapless wasteland of films.
I think it's been shot so long ago. I think, what was it, Edie Falco, who has a small role in A Way of Water, said that they shot the movie so long ago she didn't realize it didn't come out yet, or something like that. They shot it in 2017 or something like that. Or
they did. They shot most of it in 2017, and 2010 to 2017 was slowly working on the scripts and getting them right. But it wasn't a technical holdup on their part. They were just taking their time developing it, basically.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Crazy.
All right, let's move on to our featured review today: Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
You're an interesting man, Scott Lang. You're an Avenger. You have a daughter, but you've lost a lot of time, like me. We can help each other with that. Who are you? I'm the man who can give you the one thing you want. What's that? Time.
We are here for our discussion of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. And what I'll do is I'm just going to read a quick synopsis according to, I think it's IMDb. Scott Lang and Hope Van Dyne, along with Hank Pym and Janet Van Dyne, explore the quantum realm, where they interact with strange creatures and embark on an adventure that goes beyond the limits of what they thought possible. All right, so let's do what we did last week and go one by one, discussing our general quick thoughts on our opinion of this third Ant-Man installment. Ellie, do you want to go first? Or Sam? Oh, we don't have to. You don't have to go. We could play we could just roll the dice here and see.
Eeny, meeny. No. Okay. Imagine finding a quantum world underneath the earth. I always wonder when I was little, if I dig deep, really deep into the earth, would I find another world? And Ant-Man just proved that to me. because I was always fascinated with our planet since I was 5 to 7 years old, and always asked the very philosophical questions to my mom, like why, who is God, or why is there a God, or why is the planet stuck in a bubble? Why are we in a bubble hanging off of nothing? And so it was very amusing to me watching the film, thinking about when I was a young girl, imagining myself digging deep into the earth core and finding another world underneath it, which is exactly what I just saw in the movie. And except for the funny looking people on that realm, that's not what I imagined, but I did imagine beautiful cities underneath the earth. And because of that, I went to college and I took a geology class.
Oh, cool. I like that. Yeah.
To understand how the earth crust and core and all of that works. And I also took a class on astronomy to understand the universe and, quantum and all that. And I love anything that has to do with the quantum realm. And so I enjoyed the movie. I didn't enjoy my surroundings of the movie because I had a little kid sniffing.
Oh, no. Oh, man, I hate that. Yeah.
The whole time. And then I had, on the other side, I had my son had a person who kept chewing on the nachos.
Yeah, I had it's always annoying when someone comes in late and they're opening their popcorn bag and they're like, hey Fred, give me that, yeah.
I do. There's so many things I did loved about the movie, but I don't want to say it because I don't want to spoil it for people. So I'm just gonna say that I enjoyed it. And if you're gonna see the film, go to one of those cinemas that has 360 surround system. It's amazing the sound that comes out of those cinemas, out of those theaters. And other than that, my sons thought that Michelle Pfeiffer at 64 years old is freaking hot. That's what he said. So,
all right, Sam.
I would say I had a good viewing experience. I had a theater, the picture show in Fall River, entirely to myself in Massachusetts.
Nice.
10:15 p.m. show, just Dolby Atmos. So I sat down. It felt like a private screening. I would say overall, I think I liked the concept of the story and what it was implying a lot better than the actual execution of the movie. And so without going into any spoiler details, let's just say that they go into the quantum realm and they discover a great evil that's trapped there. To me, that concept is fascinating. I kind of wish they had milked it more. I thought the movie was good. I like all the actors in it. There was something about the energy of the movie to me that felt kind of, it felt sort of middling. I just thought it came across as kind of like a standard Marvel adventure, even though it was dealing with a great concept. I just thought it could have been directed better. And I thought that the visual effects of the quantum realm operated on a fine line between being visually cool and stunning and also being kind of like a CGI mess, feeling like everything, it felt like a great production design had gone into a blender or something like that, and just it was good but kind of also a mess. And to me, the movie was right on the line, so I would give it a very middling review. Even though I liked Paul Rudd, I thought he was excellent, I just thought the movie could have been more than it was, and surprisingly, as much as I enjoyed it, I did not feel much the entire time. I was entertained, but I felt kind of an emotional distance, where when it ended, I was like, that was good, but again, I thought the plot, the idea behind it, that could have been, and I like that they were going for like a more serious Ant-Man film, a more consequential storyline than the first two. I thought they could have milked that more or something. That's just me.
I feel like it was a filler for what's coming next.
Yeah, it felt fillerish, and it felt kind of underwhelmingly directed. And for me, a lot of the comedy fell flat, where I like Michael Douglas a lot. He was trying, but he'd have a line that would say, he'd be like, I like ants. And I'd be like, you know, it was trying to do that, the Marvel humor, and even some of that fell flat for me as well.
Yeah.
All right. Well, my thoughts on this film, you know, I felt like this was a serviceable MCU entry. Not near the top, but not near the bottom either. I think kind of, as you're saying, middling.
Yeah, it's solid. You can't, that's the thing, you can't really, it's not poor at all, but it's also not great. It's fine. It's hard to, you know, yeah.
So, and I think the reason why this falls in the middle and had the potential of doing more is because I think I was sold something different by the trailers. I was expecting something that this movie wasn't going to be. The movie trailer made me think this is going to be a much more emotionally packed film. I thought the dilemma, the Ant-Man trying to, where Kang was going to give Ant-Man this Faustian deal, like, I'm going to be able to give you more time to be with your daughter.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
This is where projects come to life. Our showrooms are designed to inspire with the latest products from top brands, curated in an inviting, hands-on environment, and a team of industry experts to support your project. We'll be there to make sure everything goes as planned, from product selection to delivery coordination. At Ferguson Bath, Kitchen and Lighting Gallery, your project is our priority.
Schedule your showroom consultation and see more from brands like Monogram at build.com/Ferguson.
And that was going to be what this movie was about. Ant-Man was going to have to make the hero's choice.
Right.
To save, to do either be selfish. Like, I love how he's set up as being like, I'm a celebrity, I'm a hero. And he's got the book out, which I hope that book actually becomes a real book someday. And I think it is, maybe. But
That'd be cool.
And this is going to be the real dilemma for Scott Lang. Is he going to take the bargain, the Faustian bargain, to get the more time with his daughter that he missed out on, or do the right thing? And the movie is not that at all. I thought this movie was going to have that kind of emotional impact about that. And this is something that I think all people relate to, like having more time with their children. Right. And I was ready for that gut punch in this movie. Like, oh my God, this is going to be what this movie is about. And it's not that at all.
No, essentially, without going into spoilers and sorry to interrupt.
I'm not getting into spoilers here, but I'm just saying.
One quick thing is like all the plot is essentially it's like it's just at its fundamental. It's the concept of a bunch of characters get split up in a place and they have a couple of separate incidents and they come back together and they fight. Like it's inconsequentially executed, but it's dealing with potentially consequential stuff, and it misses the ball on that, is what you're saying, I think.
So basically, it comes down to the tone of this movie, which I felt was kind of schizophrenic. Like I said, the trailer sold me something different. It's really this movie's Achilles heel. I had so many elements in this movie that were just bizarre and dumbfounded me. There's a callback to a villain from the first Ant-Man movie that is reprised in here that is like, feels like it's totally out of a cartoon. And I know this character is a staple villain from the comic books and the MCU, from Marvel comic books, but I don't feel like it made me laugh and cringe during this movie. I don't think it worked. But what I did like, I thought Jonathan Majors was a very good villain and foil in this movie. I loved him, all the scenes that he's in. I've loved Jonathan Majors in everything I've seen him in, going back to like The Last Black Man in San Francisco, The Five Bloods. I think he is phenomenal. I'm looking forward to seeing what he is going to bring to phase 4 and 5 of the MCU. I think he's going to be fantastic. But just a lot of what the decisions that the main characters are doing in this movie just don't make sense to me. And we'll get into it in spoilers, but the end of this movie, I just felt like I don't know what happened in the end.
I felt the
here.
end of this movie was Deus Ex Machina nonsense.
Yes.
As if like the screenwriter was like, I got to go to sleep. I'm about the planet.
Yes.
Turn it in the script.
We're going to get to that right now, but that is how I feel like the final 10 minutes of this movie is
it's a holder place. It's holding a place.
It is. And I expected this movie being the official launch of Phase 4 was going to be
it's Phase 5 actually.
Phase 5.
Yeah.
Is it Phase? Yeah, Phase 5 is going to have a lot of unanswered questions. It's going to be set up for a lot of things, but I wanted some real stakes in this, and I feel like we didn't get that.
Stakes, exactly. That's what I'm talking about, because it's like you introduce the villain, Jonathan Majors, who was excellent, probably the best aspect of the movie. You're setting up a villain who's going to be in the next Avengers film, and like he's a big baddie, as they say.
Yeah.
So to give him just to give more consequence, or have this movie be more significant, it only acts as an intro. It would be like if you saw Star Trek 2 and they met like Khan and like had a fight and took off in their ship and we're like, oh, you're an asshole. We'll see you later. Bye. You know, and it feels like a bridge to a better movie, but it's not much of a. It was not a great movie in and of itself, is what it feels like.
All right, so let's get to our spoiler discussion of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania now.
So, but by the way, to the spoilers, to go right to the ending that you were talking about, the army of intelligent ants that just wipes through like Kang's empire. They did that so easily and so in the background. And again, what I was saying about the good concepts in the movie, but a lack of good execution. The idea of the intelligent ants and the concept was fine, but they were handled in such a B plot. There's like a couple of shots and Michael Douglas is like, by the way, I like ants, and then all of a sudden they appear, wipe out and knock down the whole place.
Well, we saw the ants go down when they went to the quantum realm in the beginning, but it was like I knew they were going to play a role sometime in this. We saw the ants go down with them. We saw when they got sucked in, those ants came with them. We saw them go down, but I was waiting for them to come back at some point. But it was kind of funny how they were like, oh, they've established some sort of colony or they're hyper intelligent now. Like I missed the part where like how much time went by for the ants. I didn't get.
Yeah, see, I thought that was kind of unclear, and like I thought the movie had more of an opportunity to really kind of like get into the quantum realm and what it was all about and how it worked. And it does sort of, but you don't get, like, I remember back in 2016 seeing Doctor Strange and being dazzled by like the world that movie built and took its time to create. This movie had a real opportunity to be the ultimate quantum realm movie, and it kind of did a half-assed job is what it feels like.
I actually think they did I actually thought they did a good job world building in this. I didn't have a problem establishing the quantum realm, and I think they did a serviceable job establishing the quantum realm as they did building out the whole cosmic side when they brought in, Guardians of the Galaxy and the space realm. I that didn't bother me at all. I don't like the fact that when we leave the quantum realm that we leave all the characters that we met down there. We don't know anything what happened to them. There's no payoff or resolution to, I forget the characters' names, but there's some really good characters that we meet there, and we just leave them and there's no resolution.
My favorite's the Kool-Aid guy,
the jelly guy who's excited about getting holes, which was great. And there's the guy that
the fire, like a dragon.
Who's the guy with the forehead that glows? I thought there was some cool stuff down there. The houses that come alive. I thought I was into the world and the world building down there.
Me too.
But it didn't amount to anything. And
that's what I mean, though. I thought the world was interesting, but when you say it didn't amount to anything, there was something. It was showing you this unbelievable place, yet there was something about the storytelling itself that I found pedestrian, kind of, or just paint by numbers, as if they had all these things, ready, like, on, I don't know. It was just a feeling.
It's like a knock. What is that movie we just watched?
Knock at the Cabin.
Knock at the Cabin.
Yeah.
They didn't develop.
So I had a theory going when we first entered the quantum realm that anybody else for a few moments think that we had entered the Star Wars universe for a moment.
For a moment, yes, because of all the characters, the people.
We go to the cantina. I could have sworn I was seeing like the Star Wars universe, and I'm like, oh my god, they just connected Star Wars to MCU.
I did notice that, and I felt like that's what I mean. I felt like the design of the place seemed like there was no cohesive. They're like, okay, we'll get a blob and we'll get a flag.
Yeah.
They took all the effect stuff off the shelf and like dumped it into like a blender and like spit it out into the quantum realm.
It was very arbitrary for you, Sam.
And I didn't understand. I didn't understand Murray's Bill Murray is it? Entrance. I didn't entrance there, so
I liked the scene, but again, it was I felt like they had the opportunity of building a character like what they did with Jeff Goldblum in the Thor movies, but it wasn't quite fleshed out the same way. That character didn't feel. I liked kind of the awkward like sexual tension going on or between him and Michelle Pfeiffer. By the way, Michelle Pfeiffer I think really is the star of this movie.
Yes.
This was her vehicle.
She's gorgeous in this film, and I don't know.
I was just remembering that scene when, like, Paul Rudd Ant-Man becomes gigantic in the quantum realm and fights, and his daughter becomes gigantic as well, and that was cool.
Cute.
That was cool. I think maybe that if I'd seen it in IMAX 3D, it would have helped for me. Just the overall visual of that experience of that movie.
I really liked him.
Going back to the tone of this movie, something else that I think that didn't necessarily work for me. The first two Ant-Man films, they took place in, I guess, our world,
right?
On the real world in San Francisco, and they're not necessarily thought of as like the best of the Marvel films, but they have a tone to them that's on the, you know, they're like more like action comedies.
Yeah, they're likable. Yeah,
they're likable, definitely. And whereas, you know, I think of like movies like Thor, which were started off as like sci-fi action movies and became more of comedies. Ant-Man was like action comedy, and this became less comedy, more like an action sci-fi movie. And I wonder if this was the right franchise to go into like this cosmic world. Because, you know, you've got Paul Rudd, who's a great comedic actor. And I just kind of question, was this the right venue to introduce this?
I really think it could have been. I think it could have been. And I don't think they did a bad job, but the idea of like the concept of like an adventure that's just going to be fun and, you know, lighthearted, and all of a sudden they discover that Kang is stuck down there and becomes this big thing. I thought that could have been really good, and I thought the scenes with Kang were good. It was almost there, but there was something about the lack of the payoff at the ending, or just something the way it was executed where it didn't quite work. There was that scene though where Paul Rudd, when he's back in San Francisco at the very end, is remembering and saying, "Wait a minute. Didn't Kane mention something that if I left him down there, that would be a lot worse?" So there's something.
Well, I like that moment because that's true to his character, where like he's going to be like, he's not going to put any more thought. Everything's just fine, you know.
Yeah, everything feels reversible in this movie. I think when you talk about creating higher stakes, there should have been something that happened that.
This is where projects come to life. Our showrooms are designed to inspire with the latest products from top brands, curated in an inviting, hands-on environment, and a team of industry experts to support your project. We'll be there to make sure everything goes as planned, from product selection to delivery coordination. At Ferguson Bath, Kitchen, and Lighting Gallery, your project is our priority.
Schedule your showroom consultation and see more from brands like Monogram at build.com/Ferguson.
Irrevocably shaped the future that like, you know, Ken got out, or something in that happened badly in the quantum realm that would have been just hugely consequential for the future, and it would have elevated the movie, I think.
But my point was that, you know, the first two Ant-Man films had a built-in kind of like a irreverent kind of humor to it. You had like his criminal buddies, you know, like you had like Lewis, who played by Michael Pena?
Yep, yeah.
He's comedic gold in those movies.
Yes,
and we don't have him at all in this film. You've got
he was missing,
Agent Wu. Also from the second movie, he has this tiny little cameo in this movie where they're having dinner, which is a fun little callback to a line in the second Ant-Man movie. But they're missing those fun side characters in here, which added so much like that comic flavor to those movies. And we don't have that here at all. And that's one of the things I feel like this was missing a little bit. Now, I knew that going into this, they were selling me a movie that felt like it had those dramatic stakes to it. I knew we were not going to get like that funny comedy Ant-Man movie, but this was, I don't know, like I said, tonally this movie wasn't either. And that's where I felt like I don't know what this was.
I do have to say, there was a moment where I actually felt bad for the villain. Mm-hmm. And I think it was at the beginning when they're just alone with Michelle Pfeiffer, at the very beginning of the movie, and he's telling the story, and I feel bad because he's alone. You know, he's basically alone in this universe. And so I feel like he was exiled and misunderstood, and he became a villain.
Yeah, we don't know the story of this version of Kang. Why was he exiled? It's possible he was very much wronged and he was innocent, and he turned to whatever this path that, you know, we don't know what happened to him. I would like to know.
Because there was instances in the movie that I feel from the actor Jonathan, there are moments, and this is like quick moments where he's talking, and I sense a sadness from him, and so that helped sort of made me want to be sort of, sympathetic, empathetic towards him at that moment. So, but that's just me. That's what I interpret. So,
did you see the end credit scene, the post credit scene?
Yeah.
What was that's the Kang Dynasty where he's from?
Yeah.
Are they all
the Kang Council?
The Kang Council were the people in the audience in that chamber? Were they all clones of him? Like it was all him?
Well, not necessarily clones, but all different versions of him from different multiverse, different universes, is what I'm guessing.
Right. Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
Kind of confused by that scene, but yeah.
Imagine, like, this could possibly be a real thing. We could have multiple versions of ourselves in other universes. That is a freaking cool.
Yeah. So a couple other things I wanted to. There's 2 points I want. So what do we all think of MODOK? I think we have to mention the MODOK of it all, because that was something that did not work for me.
You mean the rather large floating head?
Yeah. Who was a callback to Darren from the first Ant-Man movie. He was the villain from the first Ant-Man movie, who I guess got sucked down to the quantum realm at the end of the movie, which I totally forgot about because I haven't seen the first Ant-Man in ages. And he didn't shrink down properly, and his head stayed big, and the rest of his body was small. And that's how they created the MODOK character, who is, in the comic books, is a very well-known villain. They couldn't really, I guess the only way they could really create MODOK. But he does have some good one-liners in this. And his death scene in this movie is pretty funny. And how he says, "At least I died as an Avenger." And everyone's reaction to that is priceless. This is maybe the 2 or 3 times I did laugh in this movie. But the effects on that was so disconcerting. I was not enjoying.
It was goofy, kind of. It didn't look like his face was large. It looked like his face was like stretched, and it looked like the resolution of the CGI. Like it just was too goofy and cheap looking for me. Like,
yeah, like why? I am shocked that was the choice that they decided to go with the effects for that character. It's one of the things that just does not work.
I think I might have this wrong, but I think that this movie was shot in the way that The Mandalorian was shot, where they're kind of on a volume.
Yes, it was.
I could kind of the thing about the problem with these. And it doesn't happen all the time, but for me, it happened with this movie, with that huge battle sequence at the end with all the elements. I could just kind of feel like the separate, I could feel the actors were just kind of separate elements. I mean, I didn't really feel any of the danger. I could feel like people were on stages, with green screens or with the background. It just felt like a lot of separate kind of gobbledygook images of like just a blender of like
pretty disorganized
flashing lights. Yeah. And I know it's like a different film entirely, and I hate to like be the guy that like keeps on harping on like Avatar, but it's like too late for that. But like they're 2 different movies, but Avatar 2, all the design, all the ships, aliens, and vehicles, everything has a functionality and a purpose, and is so well thought out that you can look at an action scene from that and see what individual boats are doing, what people are doing, who's where, what's what. This, to me, I got it conceptually, but those last fight scenes to me was just more like an exhausting CGI blender of. I understood it plot wise. I just felt kind of a disconnect this time, and they're good visual effects. Like, it's impressive, but I think we're used to a certain level of CGI as an audience where just piling it on like that doesn't quite do it for me.
2 other points I want to make that, I'm not trying to pile on with this movie, but there's a story, there's a thing that happens in this movie it's a story crutch that drives me nuts with a script. And that is when a character withholds information that would be very helpful and probably would change the outcome of everything. So when they go down to the quantum realm,
that happens like 5 times in The Last Jedi. Sorry.
When they go down to the quantum realm, Janet decides to just withhold this information that Kang exists. And why that is the case, I cannot figure out. Oh, by the way, or even before they go down there, so Hank Pym and his daughter and anyways, the three of them build
Evangeline,
Lily. So they build this device to communicate or to
map out the
quantum realm. First of all, why they do this without even consulting with the one person that lived in the quantum realm for 30 years doesn't make any sense.
And she says that too. She's like, "Why didn't you guys talk to me, you idiot?"
Why, exactly. And first of all, why she kept secret that there's this really dangerous guy that lives down there. Like, why she kept that secret? Because because of shame?
Well, it seems like she had shame, but then when she tells her story, she doesn't really have anything to be ashamed about. Like,
exactly.
Like as Robert De Niro would say, what is she going to do?
But even after they go down there, she doesn't say anything. Well, at least give them like the 10-second synopsis. Yeah, there's a dangerous guy here. I'll give you the full story when we have a moment, but they're hiding from like the ships flying around. But like, no, you got to tell these people what's going on.
I know there
wouldn't be a movie, but you got to share this information with everybody. And that drove me up a wall. I know this is a story technique so that you actually have a movie, but I hated that so much that this information is withheld. For no reason at all.
I think they tried to play it like she was afraid and she couldn't believe she was back down there and she was just hell-bent and focused on getting her family out of there. But even still, I agree with you. There were plenty of opportunities where it could have been discussed.
But this information.
It's like what you're saying is it's like there's like stupid coincidences that exist to create the plot. It's like, why didn't they tell Michelle Pfeiffer they were building that? Because then she would have warned them and then they wouldn't have had the movie. So it's like stupid, like things like that are crazy annoying. Yeah.
Oh, anyway, that was, I know that, but it happened like 3 times. Like where she's just like, I can't tell you now. We got to move. Like, no, just, I don't know.
Yeah. And for me, I'll say one really quick comment. I think the visual effects in the movie, the CGI is amazing. For me, it's not the quality of the CGI, it's the design, the look, some of the things, it's just some stuff cancel each other out, but that's just me. Some of it looked great. So when I say it's like a visual mess, I don't mean it looks cheap. Certainly not. It's always, Marvel always has quality CGI in it. It just was a strange, I was reading one review and they said that it felt like the movie felt like a VFX blender. And I did get that vibe a bit, that I was kind of just thrown down into this like garbage tunnel of stuff, that's all.
So
like a melting pot. It's a melting pot. That's how I felt. Like in this world, quantum world, all these different creatures are sort of together and they fight together, the villain, and they unite. And I feel like in this world, they're doing something that we in our Earth world cannot even do, because we as humans can't come together to fight a big evil. We would fight each other before we fight the villain, and kill each other before we kill the villain. And so, but in this world, you see a mixture of different creatures, and I don't know where they come from, and but they come together to save their world.
They come together to save their world in the end, and that's awesome. And the other message, even though this is like, it's going to sound like a silly joke, the other message of the movie that's a good message in general is don't be a dick.
Yes. We can all learn from that.
I saw that. I was like, yes, that is true. I've been a jerk in my past and I amend my ways, and I applaud that message, and everyone should do that regardless of race or gender. Just don't be a dick.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah. All right. So this also obviously sets up Loki season 2, which actually does make me look forward to that because I do want to see where they go with the Kang character. So yeah, did you watch Loki season 1? Either of you?
I've seen 2 episodes. That's it. I've not seen it.
Oh, interesting. So you didn't see the finale of Loki season 1, which does have Jonathan Majors as the character He Who Remains, which is a version of Kang.
I did not see that. No, so I'm missing some data in the lore.
Okay.
I'm with Sam too. So
okay. I am the Marvel completist here.
You're you're studious, Nathan. Very studious.
Yeah. Okay, well, I think we probably have exhausted our conversation on this film. Any final thoughts, or should we move on?
It's okay. It's not bad. It's not great. It's in the middle, but it has aspiring ambitions, and for that, I applaud it.
Okay.
For me, it was just enjoy. I was just there enjoying it.
You were there.
Yeah.
You saw it.
Yeah, I did not dislike it either. My review is not negative. It's middling. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right there. I'll agree. It's right in the middle somewhere. I have to admit, I mean, it still might be.
This is where projects come to life. Our showrooms are designed to inspire with the latest products from top brands, curated in an inviting, hands-on environment, and a team of industry experts to support your project. We'll be there to make sure everything goes as planned, from product selection to delivery coordination. At Ferguson Bath, Kitchen and Lighting Gallery, your project is our priority.
Schedule your showroom consultation and see more from brands like Monogram at build.com/Ferguson.
A scooch above the other Ant-Man movies. I liked the other ones. I think this one it's good. I don't know. I have to sit with it.
It has its grand potential. It had the spark of like that gave it. It had some interesting concepts in it.
I got to see these films just so I can grab one of the the little creatures in every of these Marvel DC movies. Or I always grab one little creature. Like for example, in the Galaxy, with the wooden guy, the tree. What's his name?
Oh, Groot.
Yeah.
Oh my God. In love with Groot. This one, it's a little Kool-Aid guy.
Okay.
I call him the Kool-Aid. I call him the Kool-Aid guy because it looks like a Kool-Aid picture.
Yeah.
Of Fred Kool-Aid. And so I just love that. So I want one of those.
Did we even know exactly what happened to Jonathan Majors at the end of this movie? He obviously didn't die, but like he fell into something and got electrocuted. But like, where did he go?
I don't know. I guess
so
the consensus is he that version of Kang, I think, died.
It's dead.
Yeah, that's what I feel like happened. Again, we didn't even really get into like how everyone got out of this mess. Like how I'm not too sure exactly how his daughter made it out of the quantum realm, and I thought it was so convenient how she just opened a portal and brought Scott back. I thought it would have been nice if he was left there.
Yeah.
And that would have been how it ended.
Yeah, that's what I was like, oh, he gets stuck there. Then we have to go get him in another movie. That's what I thought was going to happen.
But maybe they didn't want to do that because they already been there with Scott stuck in the quantum realm, right?
That's true. Yeah. That's true.
They've already been, and that would have been nothing original, and that's all I could think. But I feel like that's what needed to happen in this movie. Like some sacrifice needed to get made in here that set Phase 5 in motion in a big way.
I was hoping that somehow Kang's like entire army would somehow, through some accident, escape the quantum realm at the end of the movie, and then you just saw them go through a fissure, and it's like, oh my God, him and his whole like armada have gotten out, and who knows where they are. Something like that. Yeah.
They used that little ball to open the
ball.
That little ball that
yeah.
The villain wanted to put in his machine to get out. That's how
true.
They got out.
I feel like it was just a MacGuffin, that thing. I don't know. You know what? Let's move on. I think I'm done talking about
they should have renamed the movie Ant-Man Quantum Realm Afternoon. That's more what it's like. Like, hey, we're gonna spend an evening here and leave without consequence. Yeah.
All right. That wraps up our discussion of Ant-Man. Let's move on to our staff recommendations. This is our I think of us, working at a video store. We have our little shelf of like staff recommendations. What would you put on the shelf next to your name of you'd want? It's a Friday night, and people are coming through the Blockbuster video, and
oh my God! Now that I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I have to tell you something.
Yes.
So I don't in my side of town, I don't always go to the south side or the central side of this town, but today I did to pick up something at the Spanish store because we don't have a Spanish store on this side of the town. So I go over there and I'm driving by the street where Blockbuster Videos used to, the store. And all of a sudden in my head, the funny thing is you just mentioned this, all of a sudden I'm driving and I started sort of transporting myself to the time where I used to rush every Friday night after work to get into the store to film or any of the new releases, and you had to get there really quickly because there was only so many copies available.
Right, I remember those days, yeah.
So if I got there before then, after that, there would be nothing. So, what I used to do, I used to bribe the people that worked at Blockbuster, and I would say, if you say me, I will call them from work. I say, say me these 2 movies, and I'll bring you pizza, because Domino's Pizza was next to it. So I would bring a small cheese pizza for the people at the cashiers, and they would have the films right there for me. So
that's awesome.
Did either of you ever work at a Blockbuster or a video store of any kind?
No.
No.
Oh, okay.
I went to Blockbuster many times. Didn't work there, but yeah.
Okay. I worked at a Blockbuster and at a West Coast Video, another video chain.
I remember that store. It wasn't as popular as Blockbuster though.
No, this was an East Coast chain, but yeah, I put in my time at video stores. Yeah, it was glorious. Yeah.
Did you ever go to Video on Wayland Square?
No.
It was weird because instead of the whole like rectangular VHS, they just had like a flat plastic cover, but the VHS was locked in the back. So the actual copy of the movie was not like on the shelf. So it was like hanging like laminated paper. I always thought that was really weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I actually got asked to come over and watch a film one night by Paul Pierce.
Oh, really?
Yep. I was shopping for my film on a Friday night as usual, and he's following me, stalking me through the store, and he's this tall man, and I wasn't following the Celtics after, Larry Bird and all that crew left. I was not a fan of, the Celtics after that. But obviously I did after, so I didn't know who he was. And he kept following me around the store. So you want to watch it with me? So what are we watching together? I'm like, sir, I'm not watching anything with you. I don't know you. And I went to the cashier to pay for my film. He's behind me and he says to the cashier, the cashier was struck. And I'm like, can I pay? Can I pay? And Paul says to the cashier, do you know she doesn't know who I am? I said, he keeps saying that. He keeps saying that I should know who he is, but I don't know who you are. You're a stranger to me. And the cashier goes, that's Paul Pierce. Who? Paul Pierce. Who is Paul Pierce? Celtics. He plays for the Celtics, I'm like, so I looked at him, I go, so now you want to come over to play with me? I said, sir, I'm a married woman. I come home and my husband says, you should have gone.
He gave you a hall pass with Paul Pierce.
Yeah, so interesting story that happened at Blockbuster Video. But
that's a good romantic comedy we call the Hall Pass with Paul Pierce. And it's like you and him on the cover at Blockbuster smiling with like that lighthearted like blue and orange teal cover. Like that's your movie.
I'm only 5'1", and he's although
he's 6'7".
Well, my ex-husband is 6'4", so yeah.
I already have a tagline for the movie. Life is not only about basketball.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was I never forget that. And my ex-husband was like, "You should have gotten an autograph." I'm like, I didn't know who he was. He's asking me to come over his, flat to like his apartment to watch. He probably has like a huge big apartment.
What did he rent?
I don't know. It's just like he was. I don't even know if he rented, and he he had his crew with him. He has like 5 other guys with him. So it's like
when Arnold Schwarzenegger was running for governor, he came to our college just to kind of tour. It's Chapman University in Southern California, but we'd been tipped off that he was giving a tour of like editing facilities, and so we just snuck into one of the editing facilities, a friend of mine and I, to pretend we were working on someone to make sure that our path crossed with Arnold Schwarzenegger. And he walked into the room, and my friend, this is when around the time Terminator 3 was coming out, and he was like, "Arnold, I promised to see Terminator 3. I'm really looking forward to it." And Arnold said, "A promise is a promise." And then walked out of the room. It was awesome. Yeah. I was like, that was great. That was just great.
That is awesome. Oh my goodness.
So back to our staff recommendations. So I wanted to challenge each of you this week. This was not an easy one, it sounds like, but I wanted to see if you guys could recommend a non-MCU, DCU, or DCEU, I don't know what they call it now, but superhero film. So we can't, a superhero film that's not in the Marvel universe or DCU universe. What do you think? You think you guys are up to it?
Yeah, that's
so.
Absolutely, guys.
But you know, you can use these. The rules are kind of loose here, so give it a shot. Sam, what do you got?
It was difficult to pick one that wasn't like, you know, DC or MCU, but I would say I picked Darkman, directed by Sam Raimi and starring Liam Neeson. I have honestly, to be brutally honest, I haven't seen it in a while. I highly enjoyed it. We were discussing it earlier, Nathan. It's not a great movie, but it's an entertaining movie. And Darkman does count sort of as a superhero because of his like situation. Some good action. I just remember being enamored with the climax took place on a building under construction, and I had a thing with heights when I was a little kid where I really, really liked it when the bad guy would fall off. I liked falling deaths in movies. I liked it when the bad guy fell from a great height. I loved Lethal Weapon movies as a kid, but I was always disappointed by the villain's death in those movies because they always just got shot. Like they didn't fall from anything. So Darkman has a good falling off a building death in it, and that's why I enjoyed it. But yeah, I mean, not a great movie, but it's entertaining. Came out summer 1990. Very low budget, but you know, good Sam Raimi antics in it, and some cool, you know, scenes, over the top, stylized kind of movie.
Darkman,
lots of direct to television sequels and stuff.
Yeah, I never saw any of the sequels. I never saw any of the sequels. I think it's either the second Darkman or the third. One of them, the title of the movie literally is, no joke, Darkman 3 Die, Darkman Die. Yes.
And I was like, I should watch it for the title.
But yeah, Darkman, yeah, it's a fun movie. It is fun. Yeah.
It's fun. It's cool. Not great, but it's certainly entertaining.
Yeah. All right. And I think that's available on VOD. I don't think it's streaming anywhere right now, which is unfortunate because I would like to see that again sometime. Anyways, so Ellie, what do you got for us?
All right. So this is really hard because, you know, I only know, you know, the superhero movies that I know, the regulars, but well, this woman is not a real, you know, superhero. To me, she's a superhero. Okay. And I'm talking about Everything Everywhere All at Once. Mm-hmm. And this movie is one of my top movies. And I feel that I connected with this movie. The reason I love this movie, first of all, I love the movie because of everyone involved and the fact that the guy from The Goonies is back. You know, I forget his name. Jamie Lee Curtis is just too funny in this film. But what really grabbed me was Michelle Yeoh? Yeah. She is a woman, you know, an older woman, obviously. And so the fact that this woman can do those martial arts stunts at her age, I am inspired. I work out every day. I want to do martial arts, you know. But to me, this whole story of this movie and why excuse me, why I love it so much is because it's basically the story of a woman, and I think any woman would relate to. I don't know if you guys will, but for a woman at a certain age, you start to feel like you are being pulled in different directions. And if you have kids, if you have a husband, if you have parents, if you have your work and you have your work at home, and you are being pulled in different directions. And so you almost feel like your life is not your life anymore. And you start to sort of daydream about things that you could have been, that you wanted to be, but you're not. Because, for Michelle, she ends up running a laundromat, right? And for some of us, we end up, being teachers or, who knows? But the movie kind of portrays her in different universes of places where she could be anything she wants to be. If she wants to be a singer, she's going to be a singer, right?
Like different versions, yeah.
Yeah, it's like there you go. So it's sort of like a superhero movie where, so there's that story where there's this woman that has to deal with the laundromat, with the husband, with the daughter, with the parents, with the IRS, taxes, and the tax. Jamie Lee Curtis is asking her, you got to pay the taxes, you got to do this. So all of that is sort of overwhelming. And I feel for her. I feel it because I have been in that situation. I'm sure many female women of a certain age, past 40, whatever, feel that something is amiss in their life, and I could have been that singer. Oh, I could have been, like Whitney Houston, but we don't fulfill those dreams. And Michelle decides to sort of, eventually start to, I feel like she daydreams and really goes into this other worlds where she can be anything she wants. And I love that because I myself have experienced that, I can be I wanted to be a car, race cars when I was little.
Oh,
I thought I was gonna be going to the.
Me too.
Yeah, I wanted to race cars, and I still race in the hot. No, just kidding. I wanted to race cars. I told my dad, I'm like, I want to be a car race driver one day. And sometimes when I'm in my car,
I think they're still casting for a Fast 11. So.
But sometimes when I'm in my car, I'm driving on the highway. I'm thinking that, in my mind, I'm like, I'm a car driver, a race car driver. And so Michelle, I connect to that. And there's so many things about this film. The cinematography is really great. It's just one of those films. If you have not seen it, go see it. And if you're a guy, go see it for your wife or your daughter or whatever. But just, it's really it's a well done film. So it's no doubt that she also got the Globe for Best Actress. So
yeah, great film, great pick, Ellie.
Yeah,
I want to see it one more time. Well, not one more time. I definitely want to see it again before the Oscars in a few weeks. It's definitely one of my favorites from last year. So
it's a mess. It's another delicious mess of a movie.
Yeah. All right, and that I think is I saw it's streaming on Showtime, and it's available on VOD.
Oh, it is. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So, my pick this week. Let's see. I'm going with my heart this week. Not necessarily a great film, but I'm going with a movie from 1980 called Super Fuzz.
Meet America's newest superhero, David Speed, Super Fuzz. He's a whiz in the pool hall, a marvel in the parking lot, and one of the best bullet catchers in the business. Meet Super Fuzz, the craziest cop this side of Inspector Clouseau. Super Fuzz, a blockbusting, high flying, water walking, smooth talking, fleet footed, skydiving, hard driving, crime fighting, all American hero.
Has anyone here heard of that movie?
I've not heard of that.
I'm not surprised. So it's probably one of the first superhero movies because this came out shortly after the original Superman and Superman 1 and 2. It stars Terrence Hill as a rookie cop who on one of his first assignments is sent to deliver a parking ticket to a Native American village, but unknowingly the area that he's going to has been evacuated because the government is running some top secret experiment and there's this explosion. So our hero, wonderfully named Dave Speed, soaks in this radiation, which gives him superpowers. I grew up with this movie and it's quite possibly that when this was coming out in 1980 that I may have seen this even before Superman 1 and 2. So this might have been my first superhero movie. It's nowhere near as good. I'll tell you that right now. It's done on a really low budget. I'll say that right now. It's silly, it's campy, and the special effects are quite subpar. However, this movie's heart is in its right place. Terrence Hill may not be a household name here in the States, but he was quite the leading man in Italy throughout the 60s and 70s. His performance as Dave Speed is very genuine, earnest, and authentic. This film is just very joyous in a lot of ways, and he brings that to the role. Ernest Borgnine is in this. He's playing Dave Speed's partner in this movie, and he's very entertaining in this. So take this recommendation with a grain of salt. It's not high art. But I do think it's worth checking out for the sheer insanity of this film. It brought a lot of joy to me in life. And I'm just kind of really happy to be mentioning Super Fuzz on a podcast, which I never thought I would do in my life. So it's currently streaming on Amazon Prime, which I was shocked to see. I remember back in, I think I was in the 4th or 5th grade. This is back when students when we were having like a movie day, the teachers asked, what do you want to watch? Like we would have days where we could just like pick a movie. Everybody wanted to watch The Karate Kid. I remember I said, no, let's watch Super Fuzz. and nobody knew what this was. And I remember I brought in my VHS tape. I probably taped it off of like Showtime or HBO or something like that. And like the teacher said, okay, this is back when teachers like had that much trust. And like she put in the tape of Super Fuzz. We got about 5 minutes into this and like looked over at me like, what is this garbage? And everyone in the class said, like, turn this off. This is terrible. Oh and then we the rest of the class time we watched Karate Kid, which it's a good movie too. I guess it's no Super Fuzz though.
Right.
So you were that kid, Nathan.
I was that kid. Yeah.
That's funny. I do like Karate Kid a lot as well.
So, but yeah, Super Fuzz.
Super Fuzz.
Which I think the original title from Italy is called Super Trooper.
Oh wow, no way.
Yeah.
Just like Super
So
Trooper.
it wasn't, I think it was in English, but it's dubbed into better English. It's one of those movies where it's like it has that like spaghetti western like overdubbing type of thing where it's parts. I think there's some actors because it was an Italian production, so you've got some people speaking English, people speaking poor English with thick Italian accents, but then they dubbed some of their dialogue in very American English. So it's very it's interesting. But how they got Ernest Borgnine in this movie is beyond me. But it's
good,
just,
right?
It's
Ernest is
crazy.
one of those great actors.
Yeah.
This lifetime. So yeah.
So yeah, all right. So
I'm not promising Nathan that I'm gonna watch this.
No, you don't have to watch this.
Okay.
But it's just kind of a.
But I love how excited when you speak of your film, and it's like you say, it's not so much that it's a great film, but that it has heart.
Check out the trailer at the least. That's what you can do. It's just it's see that, and you'll see that it's just kind of a silly romp.
Well, then I'm probably gonna like it because I enjoy goofy movies.
But don't hold it against me if you watch it. So, anyways, I was the right age at the right time. Okay, so those are our staff recommendations, and I think it's time to wrap things up here. But before I do, just want to mention a couple releases coming out this week. Coming up in wide release on Friday is Cocaine Bear.
Can't wait to see that.
That is directed by Elizabeth Banks, written by Jimmy Warden, starring Kerry Russell and Ray Liotta in his final completed film role. It's a horror comedy involving oddball group of cops, criminals, tourists, and teens who converge in a Georgia forest where a 500-pound black bear goes on a murderous rampage after unintentionally ingesting cocaine. That is just high concept gold.
Can't wait to see that. Yeah.
I'm going to wait till, it's going to be on VOD like in weeks.
Yeah.
That something like that. So
yeah, I'm probably going to wait for it too.
Yeah. I'm not running out to the theater to see that. Also coming to wide release is Jesus Revolution, directed by John Irwin, written by John Irwin, starring Nicholas Carrillo, Kelsey Grammer, the true story of a national spiritual awakening in the early 1970s and its origins within a community of teenage hippies in Southern California. And the other notable releases that I could find was coming to VOD called Devil's Peak, directed by Ben Young, written by David Joy, starring Billy Bob Thornton and Robin Wright. A crime thriller set in North Carolina's Appalachian Mountains. 18-year-old Jacob McNeely is torn between appeasing his meth-dealing kingpin father and leaving the mountains forever with the girl he loves. That old chestnut. So that is Devil's Peak. And there might be some other VOD releases coming up. But it's a slow week in the theaters. I think Ant-Man is sucking up the screen. Yeah. And Avatar continues to do business. So yeah, that's what's going on. So, so that's our show, everyone, this week. And, all
right.
Hip, hip, hooray.
Another episode in the books. So next week, we will be reviewing what we were going to originally review this week.
Somebody I used to know.
Somebody I used to know, which I think we all watched probably like a week ago or so, but I think it will be still fresh in our memory, and we'll save that review for next week because there's not much in the theater, but that's cool. So thank you everyone for tuning into this week's show. Back to the Frame Rate is part of the Weston Media Podcast Network. Please subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes or Apple Podcasts. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Back to the Frame Rate and on Twitter at Back Frame Rate. We need to get a better handle there. Yeah. You can email us directly at backtotheframerate@gmail.com. Have a great week, everyone.
Bye.
This is where projects come to life. Our showrooms are designed to inspire with the latest products from top brands, curated in an inviting, hands-on environment, and a team of industry experts to support your project. We'll be there to make sure everything goes as planned, from product selection to delivery coordination. At Ferguson Bath, Kitchen, and Lighting Gallery, your project is our priority.
Schedule your showroom consultation and see more from brands like Monogram at build.com/Ferguson.
This is where projects come to life. Our showrooms are designed to inspire with the latest products from top brands, curated in an inviting, hands-on environment, and a team of industry experts to support your project. We'll be there to make sure everything goes as planned, from product selection to delivery coordination. At Ferguson Bath, Kitchen, and Lighting Gallery, your project is our priority.
Schedule your showroom consultation and see more from brands like Monogram at build.com/Ferguson.